Welcome to Crossroads. I'm your host, Joshua Phillip. Today we have with us Dan Howell, representative from Tennessee. He's here to talk to us about how Tennessee turned around its poor situation, poor finances, and become the new Detroit. And by Detroit, we mean the good Detroit, the pre-Detroit for Detroit.
The automotive part of
Yeah.
Detroit. Yeah.
So how'd you do it? Tell us the story of how this happened.
Well, Tennessee has really seen a turnaround in the last 8 years. We had pardon me for being a little partisan, we had suffered under 150 years of Democratic rule since Reconstruction, and the Republican Party slowly began to gain some traction under some good leadership that we had in the state party level. In 2011, we obtained the majority. In 2012, we obtained a super majority. And that's when we began to cut taxes, that's when we began to deregulate, and it has paid off. We were the third most regulated state in the United States, and it was hampering growth, it was hampering our ability to attract industry and create new jobs. And now, 8 years later, we are leading the nation in job creation, economic growth. We're now the #1 automotive producing state in the United States. As you say, we're the new Detroit. We have Volkswagen headquarters there, Nissan, any number of, Mitsubishi has just announced that they're moving from California to the Nashville area, moving their North American headquarters there. But we did it through doing what I think has been known for quite some time, something that President Reagan, who happens to be a hero of mine, suggested that we do, and some people sneeringly call it trickle-down economics, but it works. We began to cut taxes, and in the last 8 years, we've cut taxes in Tennessee by $850 million. We have deregulated a number of professions and industries. We still have oversight, but we've eliminated a lot of the crippling regulations that hampered their ability to make a profit. As a result, for the last 5 to 6 years, we've had major budget surpluses. This year alone, we have a $600 million budget surplus. A couple of years ago, we had a $1 billion budget surplus. But of course, the economy ebbs and flows. But we've been consistent in Tennessee in having a budget surplus. We did it with two things. We cut taxes and we deregulated, and it's paying off for us.
Great. And I know we were talking a bit off camera, what do you do with the surplus? Right?
Well, my suggestion, and I've asked for a meeting with the governor because I chair the Transportation Committee in the House of Representatives. My suggestion is going to be, let's give it back to the people who paid the tax to begin with. And it would be difficult to write a check to 7 million people. You can't do that. But you can give it back to their communities and to the counties in grants to help them improve their infrastructure, for example, or improve their education system. So I'm going to suggest that we take that budget surplus and let's give it back in the forms of building bridges, building roads, fixing potholes, giving teachers raises, and things like that, in order to help the people who actually paid the tax to begin with. And we have a surplus, let's give it back.
Right. And now, I know some people might not understand how reducing taxes can give you a surplus, because, I remember when Trump was talking about lowering taxes, people were talking about, how are you going to fund the government, how are you going to do this and that if you cut taxes, and, he's like, just watch, it's going to bring back business.
It did.
And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, whatever, and sure enough, it worked. He showed that it worked, but I'm curious on a local level how it worked in your regard.
It's worked tremendously. What you do is you end up with the industries and even local independently owned businesses, the mom and pop businesses, they end up with more capital. And what happens when the economy begins to increase, they turn around and they reinvest that capital and they expand, they create more jobs. And in my county, which is adjacent to Hamilton County, which is where Chattanooga is located, those two counties have led the state of Tennessee for the last 2 to 3 years in job creation. Tennessee has led the nation in job creation and industrial growth. And in addition to that, we are now listed by U.S. News and World Report in their political report that they put out. Tennessee is right now listed as the #1 most fiscally stable state in the United States. So these policies work. Conservative policies work, and if we could get D.C. to agree to that, I think we'd all be better off as a country.
Great. So where can people learn more about the work you've done and what you're up to?
Well, we have a great website, the Tennessee website, tn.gov, and it has many facets to it, many pages. And you can look for the legislature on that website, Tennessee Legislature, and you can go to the House or the Senate on tn.gov and look up all of the legislatures. I'm on there somewhere, and you can find out what I do.
Okay, real pleasure having you on.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Good to be here.
Thank you. Everyone, please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.